Well, hello everybody. Seems like Flip wrapped up. Not too bad on time either. It's what, 12:15 a.m. here where I'm at on the East Coast, technically. Not, it's somewhere in Indiana, somewhere near, like, up by Chicago. Oh, hold on.
Seems like Flip wrapped up.
Hold on.
Not
There we go. Sorry about that. Oh, it's been a long day. Um, the only reason I'm streaming at the moment is because the kids are in bed. It's my son's birthday. They're in bed now. But it was, once work was wrapped up, it was a long day. We went out to dinner. We did presents. We got so stuffed at dinner that we didn't want to do cake and ice cream, so that got postponed until tomorrow so that we'll actually eat it. But it was a busy day. Definitely a busy day. So, Johnny T, Little Penny, Real Ruler. Yeah, I wish there were double D's here. I think we're both missing them then in that case, unfortunately. So, what I was doing while Flip was yammering on about trying to offload his stuff for, and I want everyone to take a note. I've been watching Flip for a while, most of you longer than me. The silver price has elevated in the last few days, just alone. But it's been as low as $18 at different points in the last couple of months. His prices on stuff have not changed. Some of those items that maybe haven't sold or he's still holding on to, or whatever have you, he's not raising his prices with the price of silver, which he easily could do. And I don't follow everybody's pricing, but I'm sure that happens out there in Coinland. Whether you're talking, obviously shops do it, but people I'm sure do it, and it's refreshing to see his prices kind of stay the same. It's upsetting to see some of the things that I'd like to buy that I'm just not at the moment. Holidays, everything else, trying to calm down, let cash build back up. But that shows a lot of his character, that his prices. I think that Canadian 5-coin lot, first time I saw it, it was $250. Now I don't remember what silver was at then, but if I had to guess, I'd feel like it's probably higher now by at least a couple of bucks than it was then, and he hasn't moved the price on that. Still the same $250 it was the first time I saw him put it up. So that's one of the reasons why I like hanging out there. I know I'm getting a fair shake. I do like the new grab bags. I know some people saw my thin to win. And yeah, on the surface it looks lackluster, and I don't remember what year that 3-cent nickel was, but I know they said they looked it up and said it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $40. But that thing, if you guys looked at that the same way I did, that's a gradable coin, and it was in a flip. So I don't know if I will do that, but it's nice enough that it should probably be in a slab versus a flip. Now, are you going to make money on that? No, maybe not. But that's a pretty good lot. And just to show everybody, which I find this stuff to be hilarious because I just passed up on buying a 1926D SLQ. I was up there at the Gold Depot. If anybody saw my video, I got a grab bag, but while I was there, I was buying some little, odds and ends. And I bought, well, which coin we got the coin scope. Gosh, I almost forgot. And now it's fixed. I can adjust it. Hold on. I got this thing dialed in now. So, come on, up higher. So I got the 1926. I did not buy the D. I chose not to. Obviously, it was more money. And it maybe was in a little bit better shape than this one. But now I have this, and I have the 26D coming to me anyways. It's funny the way the world works like that. And then, while I was up there, I picked up some other stuff. If you saw my video, you saw most of it. There's not much that wasn't on there, but I did pick up, I went through their Indian head scents, and I'm going to try to readjust this again, try to get this dialed in just a touch. Yeah, the details aren't that sharp on this. There's number one. Now, again, who knows on the toning of some of these coins, but I picked through their Indian head scent bin, and I got the best looking toners that I could find. This one's a really nice gold. The backs look just about as good as the front. Sorry I didn't flip it right, but you get the idea. So I got 4 really nice toner Indian head scents. Now, is it real toning? Were they soaked in oil for a decade? I don't know. But they look pretty, and they didn't cost me that much. So while I was up there, I picked up those. 'Cause Indian heads, you might get lucky and find one in a coin roll out of like every 10 or 15 or 20 boxes you do. I've never found one in a bankroll, but you could. But you're not. You're gonna have to go buy your Indian heads. It's just like thinking you're gonna put together a barber set of anything from bankrolls. It's just not gonna happen. So, you know, I picked through the entire thing. It's just a little bin that they had, but I went through coin by coin and picked out what I thought were the best examples and the ones with the nicest toning, the cleanest, the best looking, and bought those. So, let's see what you guys are doing. Let me catch up with the chat. Sorry, I'm not used to 16 people in here. I appreciate it. If everybody's still bored and hanging out, then I will join you. Veteran Metals, nice to see you. Shy Guy, I know you're trying to keep up. It might be hard to do as well. Yeah? The Flip Guy is alright. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it pains me, like, what was it, that foreign lot, that the silver foreign lot that he had up today, what I bid on it. CM, I think, bid me first. He bid the same thing before me, so I really didn't have an official bid in, and then he was out after, I forget who it was that won it. I have the auction sheet, but I won't look back. So whoever bid against him went up over the 105. CM said he was out. I was kind of shaking, like, let him have it. But that was a good lot, and I'm not even that into foreigns. I like them. I have a decent amount, like nothing crazy. I'll collect them. Just odds and ends and whatever oddities I find in the bankrolls and whatnot. But that was a really good lot for $100, and other people could easily mark those things up and really dig through and try to figure out what's in them and price everything. And he's just not about that. He wants to make a couple of bucks. We all understand that, but he likes to pass those savings along, the value to the buyer. So that was a really hard one for me to pass up, because at 100, even 105, I think, even heck, probably in the 120 range, I bet there's more than that much money in those coins. Now, might you sit on them for a while? If you're trying to actually flip them and offload them, maybe. Foreigns are a little bit harder of a sell. It's a more dedicated fan base, and they're obviously spread across the globe and area. But yeah, I like flip. These good auctions. That's why I'm always there. Dust Away Jim. Hello from Montana. Formerly from Highland, Indiana. Stacking for a few years. Enjoy your channel. Good info. Thanks. Peace. Well, thank you for hanging out, even if it is only for a minute. Indiana, I find myself over there a lot. Highland, I don't specifically know where that's at. I'll have to look that up, but I'm in and around. I just got back, as a matter of fact, yesterday from up around the Crown Point area. Driving through Indiana has become like second nature to me, and the one thing I love for Indiana versus Ohio is Ohio, and apparently we have like a reputation for this, and I had no idea until I guess I really started driving and traveling around. Ohio is just like flooded with state troopers. We will pull you over. Everyone. All the time. Like, they're always out. And I just thought that was normal. They're always on the highways. They're always patrolling. Sometimes you'll see 4 or 5 in a few mile stretch. Like, I mean, it's just always been normal. I can go through Indiana and back. I may never see a state highway patrol for Indiana the entire time. And if I do see them, they're likely driving. Hardly ever are they actually, like, sitting somewhere running radar. It's crazy, the night and day difference between Indiana and Ohio's highways. It's just so odd. Johnny T, it pains me also, Stack It, that I don't have the funds to buy some of the bargains. I would fill a bunch of holes in my US albums. Yeah, I just saw some Silver Guy's channel because I forget when I said it, but I said it on somebody's. Maybe it was American Eagle Hoarder. Yeah, I think it was American Eagle Hoarder. He was having a coin roll hunt or something. He does a bunch of stuff over there. Go check him out if you haven't. But he was doing some stuff, and I commented that I was thinking about getting into the commemorative halves, like the collection, trying to actually put it together. And then I saw a video probably like yesterday or today, like a day or two ago, where somebody that I don't normally watch, I can't even remember his name, but he's like a silver channel, collector channel, something. A bigger one, you can tell he's got all the nice backgrounds and stuff. You see what I got. I don't put that much effort into it, but he was talking about he was starting basically that exact collection, and he had the the Dansko album, and he was going over, everything, putting the first few coins in and things, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and I don't know yet. I did see I need a 1979 S Type 2, which, from my research, this is a dime, Type 2 S, which is the clear S. The mint mark's stamped a little better than apparently the Type 1. And so I need that, and then a couple of things like 2018 silver proof and some other stuff. And then my Rosie set will be complete with all the silver proofs and everything to date. I get that 79 and a couple other things, and that'll be full. And then the halves, I think I need a couple silver proofs, and that'll be full. The Washington quarters are already full. So it's about time. That's what I was getting sidetracked with all the yammering. But that's what I was doing while I was on the phone, or on the phone. While I was on the auction with Flip, watching him and bidding on things, I was going through the last of my nickel rolls. Well, not the last. I lie. I have like 10 or 11 rolls from some bank I never heard of, but they're all 2022s, or at least all the enders are brand new 2022s. So I'm guessing they're all 2022s. They look like it. So I don't think I'm going to crack those rules. But I'm pretty close. So it wasn't even a whole box of nickels. So that's important to state. But let's start at the newest. So that's this one. So in the newest, which I do have up to 2020, I'm missing the 2009P. I had no idea until I really looked at this that the mintage was so low on the 2009 P and D. The P 39.8 million, the D 46.8 million. Now I have the D, I'm missing the P. That's the only thing out of the first book. And that goes back to 1996. So I'm missing one nickel there after 2.5 bank boxes. This is where I'm at. In the next set up, the 95 back to 62, I'm missing a 1972 P or no mint mark, and a 1965. There was no mint mark in that year, so just the 1965. So I'm missing those two, and then the second book is complete. So in the first two modern books, I'm only missing 3 coins. And then, of course, the 38 to 61 is a little rougher. You have all your silvers, PD and S, to find, and I doubt I'm going to have the wherewithal to force myself to try to find those in bankrolls. I'm going to do what I can, but if they're like the last thing to fill, I'm probably going to pull out my silver bag and go through what I have. Now, the ones I get, the ones most of us get, are kind of beat up, but they're still book fillers. But yeah, 2.5 books, or 2.5 boxes, and I almost have, I gotta be over 75% of that entire. Now the 38 to, 61? That's a harder one. You know, I don't think I've come anywhere close to the 30s. I think a 41, I got that, and a couple others. But yeah, those earlier dates are getting harder and harder to find. And then I've been saving stuff, so I'll show you guys this. Pull in a little closer, focus. So I've been upgrading the book as I go, but I'm trying to have the wherewithal to, in case I want to start another book in the future, to actually keep some of the, maybe not even harder to find coins, but just, you know, like my S mint marks and different things. So I'm starting to, as I upgrade, if I upgrade like a nice coin and I find a better one, I'll still keep it. This is 62. Why did I keep that after upgrading it? I don't know. But yeah, you get weird stuff. I had this. It's a 1970. It's all blackened. It actually looks kind of cool. The reverse has like a scratch in Monticello, but nothing too crazy. But all the blackening on it, and the fact that it's an S, just made me want to keep it. But nickels, that's where I'm at. And then I have like a box and a half of pennies still to go through. I brought back from that bank in Crown Point. They were so nice. I got coins twice while I was up there, and when I went back, they literally were just offloading everything they had. I got like 2.5 boxes of pennies, a whole bunch of nickels, a whole bunch of dimes. My son, as I was going through rolls earlier, he came over to kind of help and took like a, kid's fleeting interest in it, to see what I was doing. And it just so happened I had been through I don't know how many rolls and not really found, actually literally didn't find anything. And right when he was here and it's his birthday, I spread them out, and I could see it from just the spread. I did just stuck out like a sore thumb. Him, not so much. But, you know, I pointed it out. I grabbed the phone. I said, let's do a short, because he loves the fact that I do YouTube videos. Even before this, you know, the Just Wrench It channel. He thinks it's so cool that I do YouTube videos, which I guess it's always nice to have something to look forward to, and you know, to have that admiration, even if it is, you know, just your kid. But, you know, I tried to get him to help with the short. You know, his spatial awareness of, like, the camera shot, not that great, which is fine. But we did pretty good. I think we got through it, and I showed him. He was playing games after opening his presents and doing whatever else with his sister tearing up my house. And I pulled up, let me go over, because I don't even know. I haven't looked at my analytics in a minute. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Go back here, open a new tab. I showed him where the video was, and earlier, before he went to bed, it was, hold on, I gotta get it. Yeah, analytics, real time, boom. I showed him, it was over 1,000 then. Yeah, okay, so it's still over 1,000. It's kind of died off a little bit, which is fine. But he thought that was cool, that the video that, hold on. Somebody from the Philippines is messaging me. Give me a minute. Interesting. So he thought that was super cool, and you know, I have the dime. I'll show you guys, because it, you know, I don't know. A lot of people, you can say what you want about these dirty coins. Let me get back over here to where it matters. You can say what you want about some of these dirty coins, like that nickel and this dime. And it's dirty, but I kind of like it. It's almost like that antiquing finish, you know, and I mean, it ain't gonna mean nothing in the long run, you know, haul on this. It's just a silver dime, but I thought it looked kind of cool, and so I put it in a flip and I gave it to him. Obviously, it's his birthday and he found some silver, so, in that respect, he just turned 8, and yeah, my daughter turns 10 in like another month. So it's birthday, Christmas, birthday. Everything all at once. It kind of hits hard this time of year for me. Okay. Let's try to keep up with the chat. Past 2 or 3 on my way home from work at nights. What? Why? If I get on a stream. Jesus. Oh, Flip's sending out invoices. Uh-oh. Time to pay the tax man. Uh-oh. That phone's going to start going off. That's my editor giving me an update on some of the stuff he has going on. Oh, I did not know that, Rebecca. So, for the night, I do have some stuff I will show you guys. It's impromptu. I am not going to lie to anybody. I need watch time. So whenever I can squeak time in, the kids aren't, being crazy, and nobody else is streaming, like Flip was saying earlier, where, you're stepping on toes too much, something like a charity stream or something like that, then I will jump on here. Now, so I still don't know about these. I got to do more research. Like I said, I just got back from the Chicago area myself, and I know the light on these is horrible, because of the obvious, but I got this in that grab bag, 343 steel cents, the PD and S. You know, now I'm not looking at it like it's probably a lot of anything, but they look like they're in decent shape. I don't think I would send them out to get graded, and I know these usually don't go for much, but, you know, it just depends. $10 for the set, and I got that in my grab bag. And I'm dropping $2 bills everywhere. So these I got from the bank. When they tell me they have $2 bills, I just grab them. I mean, they're cool, they're fun. You know, it's nothing too crazy, but I'll collect them. I started collecting them actually before I was even stacking. I started getting them when I would come across them for the kids. That way they would have, you know, the stack of $2 bills that I built up. And I had, I don't know, probably like 15 or 20. You know, just the ones I found. I'd never go out and search for them, but if I came across them, I would take them. And so now I got that. I got this, which will actually be good for the big camera. So I got this from Coin Junkie, and it's like I think it's confusing because it says Illinois. Maybe it's Chicago. I don't know. But then the bill says Washington D.C. for obvious reasons. But it's got the skyline. It's like one of the painted $2 bills. Still legal tender though. So I got that. I like the bills. You saw me buy some bills from Flip today. And that's because not only do I have a small bill collection, nothing super crazy, but I have a uncut, when he had the uncut sheets, I knew I was buying whatever I could get. I'm glad that he had multiple sets because I have a $2 uncut 4-piece sheet that are star notes, and now I have another $2 regular, and then another $1 regular for, you know, uncut notes on a sheet. So I'm kind of building that up. I thought that was cool when I saw those come up. Now, what was I looking for in here? Oh yeah, I really thought this was cool. Now I'm going to tell you, I paid too much, but it's like, you know, you support the people you can, you know, when you're able. So I really like this shop up there, if you're ever in the area, in Crown Point, the Gold Depot, where I buy this stuff. T, the Silver Stacker, does videos in there occasionally with the owner, Rich, and then he goes to other ones too. Sherry, I'm never that far in Illinois. She's across the border. But maybe one of these times, if I actually have some time while I'm up there, I might jump over and try to see if I can get over to Sherry's place. But the Gold Depot has a really nice selection. And I'm not knocking everybody over here, but compared to what I see in my area that I can drive to within an hour in any direction, their shop blows mine out of the water. They just have stuff. Odd stuff, different stuff, key dates, like just stuff we don't see over here. You might see one in 9 months, a year, you know, something come through and then it's gone. So I don't know if that's because we have a lot of collectors and things just don't sit, but we just don't have the selection that they do. So when I was up there, I saw these little 1 ounce rounds, and I didn't even realize at first, but it's made by MK Bars, which makes sense looking at it now. I know the work style and it matches, but it's like one of their little, like, I don't know, store rounds. They have a YouTube channel as well, so I guess it counts as both, like a channel round, store round. the Gold Depot. It has their website on it, so I can never forget it. And it's made by MK Bars, and that was actually icing on the cake. I asked for it. I paid $50 for it, and that was before I was just trying to support the store, buy a channel round or whatever you would call it. And I bought it, and then when I was looking at it, it was in a flip. You just saw me pull it out of, and I was looking at it, and when I flipped it over, that's when I saw. I was like, "Oh, holy crap! Like, it's made by MK Bars?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's made by MK Bars." I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, sure." Like, I want it. I definitely want it then. And then this whole thing. What is this? Okay, it's weird. It's like a flip. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get this out of here, because okay, the Expo. Okay, this thing. I hate this light. Let's see if I can fix this. If you go in too close, it gets super shiny like that. So, this Expo, again, I know the light's not super great, and the light's not doing it justice. It's clean, and I'm going to say clean as in, not a lot of toning. I cannot easily get this case apart, so I would like to think that it's sealed. Who knows? I'm not going to try too hard, but there's no easy access. You would have to, pry it apart if it's not glued. But it's in pretty good shape. All the details are there. I got this in a grab bag. It's the best one. I have one with nicer toning on it, but the details aren't there. So, and there's Flip going crazy in the chat. I appreciate the tone. I appreciate the chat momentum, definitely. But just stuff like that. The Colombian Expos that we see over here, they're well loved. We'll put it that way. They're not that nice. And this was in a grab bag. I totally didn't expect it, but it's stuff like that. The reason why I'm starting to like the YouTube auctions and the different people. Coin Junkie, AG. Oh, that was the other thing. Where is that? That I did not get from the Gold Depot, but I have here, and this, I don't know. I'm starting to like my fractional silver, even more so than I already do, but like the 40%, obviously our stuff's 90%, but I bought a bunch of Canadian dimes from him, and it's not bad. I mean, they're 40%, or I'm sorry, 50%, but they're actually kind of cool. I think. The weights, not too hateful. They feel lighter than our dimes, like a little, because it's a mixture of metal. So, I don't know. It's just a little different, but you can tell, you hear the sound. It's clearly silver, and they're kind of nice to play with. Plus, somewhere in this stack of dimes that I picked up off, there it is. There it is. I'm going to put it up. I had no idea for the longest time. I always saw that, fish, his, profile picture thing. There might be another one right there. I had no idea. It's a Canadian coin. It's like a 50% dime. I had no idea, why a fish was his picture or anything. I figured there was some personal significance. And now I have learned that it's quite literally just a 50% Canadian dime that has a fish on it. It's like some kind of year span, 1867. Yeah, it's a centennial, maybe. And I go figure, Canada puts a fish on their centennial coin. But that's what they do. But yeah, I actually kind of like this stuff. The price isn't that bad. You're still getting silver. I might buy more in the future. Again, like with most of this kind of stuff, you don't go crazy, but you can quite literally hear it's silver. So, you know, I don't think, and it's 50%. That's an easy ratio to run at, a coin shop if they're kind of hesitant or whatever. They can easily Google it, confirm these years are 50%, and that's an easy calculation for them to do. So I don't feel like you'll have too hard of a time offloading it. Plus, right now you got to buy what's cheap because, sorry, I'm pouring myself another shot, so to speak, of sake. It's chilled. Usually I like it warm, but I broke my carafe. It's like a little thing that you pour it in and warm it up, ceramic. I broke my carafe when I was moving into this house. So I need to get another set, but that's how you warm it up and keep it warm. Been planning on grabbing some Canadian quarters and dimes from my local. Yeah, they're a bit cheaper. Yeah, and right now, where are we at? I think we ended the day. I don't have it up. I'm going to have it up in a second. We were, I think, over 22. Or, I'm sorry, 23. God. 23.11 on my charts. Your mileage may vary. But the funny thing was, when I left town, it was just another day. We were, I think, like 19 something, whatever. Normal day, below 20, whatever, and then I was out and I was at the shop. I bought all that stuff. It was still low, and then like the next day, I forget what prompted me. Maybe it was I saw the videos in my feed, and people were talking about spot price, and I was like, well, what is it? And I looked, and I was like, oh, it went up, and then I drove home. And I'm like, okay, cool, silver's up. And then I got home, and I'm like, I wonder how it did. Oh, it's even higher. And then today, of course, it inched up a little more. So I'm like, okay. Well, and that's good, too, because I was expecting it to kind of dip. It looks like it held pretty strong on an upward trend. So next week's going to be interesting. But keep your socks on. Because the Fed still hasn't committed to a 50 basis point rate increase. So, if memory serves me correctly, December 14th is the day. So that's a little over like a week and a half away. Yeah. It's about a week and a half away. It's not this Wednesday, but it's the following Wednesday. That should be when they announce the next adjustment. And it's either going to be 50 or 75. We'll see. They're leaning more towards 50. That's what Powell kind of was indicating. But if they don't actually do the 50, then I feel like we're going to drop a little bit. I don't know how much, but we'll drop back down, maybe closer to 20 or even 19. But if it is actually, in fact, a 50 basis point rate increase, and it shows their mind state of we need to start slowing this train down and start getting ready to pivot, that is a good sign for us in silver and commodities and precious metals and shoot, at this point, basically anything. So if that actually happens on the 14th, with us, we're sitting a little over 23 right now. I say we could go as high as 25, maybe even close to 26 by the end of the year. I firmly believe that. If they actually show signs of beginning to slow the rate increases. Because that shows weak dollar. And what happens when the dollar's weak? Everything else, precious metals, commodities go up because that's where everybody puts their money. So, my prediction, we're either going to end the year somewhere in the $19 or $20 range, or in the $25, $26 range. That's my guess. And that's a big range, and we're not used to that, but we're in a really weird spot right now where we're in a roller coaster and we're right at the top of the hill, and we can't see what's coming. We don't know how big the drop is. We don't know if there's a loop-de-loop or a corkscrew. We have no clue. And we're right at that moment. It might just be a little dip and, carry us on. We're not sure. And that's where we're at. We're riding this post-COVID roller coaster. And there's no playbook. Like, we never went through in modern times anything like that. So analysts everyone's guessing at this point because there's no reference to really look back to and kind of see how this is going to go or what it looked like the last time something like this happened. There's, not in any kind of modern time with the markets and everything that we have now has this really happened. And so all bets are kind of off, but that's what it looks like. Bicentennial halves all for $59. I'm missing that part of the conference. Oh, Whatnot. Yeah, you were talking about that. And I'm not going to kid you. Oh, that guy. Remember I was just talking. I feel like I have to sneeze. So if I do suddenly, excuse me. The guy, the video where I said he was talking about putting together the commemorative half set that I was thinking about. Which is funny, by the way, because I didn't know that was what his video was going to be. I just stumbled upon it. I can't remember what the title and thumbnail were, but I don't remember them being overtly about, like, commemorative halves or anything. Maybe it was. But I wasn't looking for the video. I just found it. But in his pinned comment, he was advertising Whatnot. And so, after What the Beep has talked about it, and this guy's talking about it, I tried to get over there. Now, I went over on desktop, I want to say. Was it desktop? I don't know. I'd have to look at my phone and see if I downloaded the app. I don't think I did, though. But I was on desktop, and I tried to look it up, and I couldn't find silver coins. So, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I think I found jewelry and some stuff, and Pokemon cards, and Funko Pops, but I couldn't find any silver coins, and I was searching for silver coins. Not saying, I obviously I'm doing something wrong, but I will say that my eBay selling hopefully is getting better. I've now sold 2 items, officially sold, paid for, shipped. I sold a W quarter for $6 plus shipping. So they got a deal on that. I wanted more for it. I was trying to hold out, but nobody bid against them, which is fine. They got it for $6. And the other one was just, surprisingly enough, was just a 1997 D or P, I forget which one. A really nice Washington quarter clad. I didn't sell it for much, but I sold it, and somebody bought it. It was in really good shape. Well, not a coin grader, but it was in good shape, better shape than you usually find them, like breast feathers on the eagle on the back, and most all the details and everything were there with relatively little damage and still had good shine on it. So, I sold that for a couple of bucks, nothing crazy, but eBay takes 13%. I think I talked about that in a video recently. Or not a video, but in one of the live streams. But yeah, I mean, I knew they took something. I didn't know it was 13%. That's kind of hefty. And apparently, good night, Rebecca. Go get some rest. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Apparently, they didn't always charge that percentage on shipping until people abused it, as I'm told. I think Jason Harvia told me about that, where people were selling items for a few cents with like $25 shipping to try to circumvent the fees, and that's where they cracked down and then said, okay, fees just apply to the whole thing, shipping included. So yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot in that aspect, but it's a way to slowly roll. I also found this, and I talked to Coin Junkie about it. I sent him some pictures just to make sure I wasn't crazy. I'll get in here on it and show you. But I was looking through the rest of those really nice halves from that silver find. What was that? That was last week. And come on. And there's a some kind of dye chip on the rim of this 1971D. So it's clad, unfortunately. I would have liked it if it was a 40% or at least. It would have helped the value a little more. But there's some kind of little dye chip on the rim. I know the camera and the light, it's not doing super well. But if I get in on there close enough, I mean, you can clearly see it's like a raised bump on the rim. So it's not much, but I threw that on eBay for I think like $1.50 just to see if I get any bites. It's a slow roll. I'm just throwing a couple of things out there, trying to get some actual feedback going. I think the person that bought that clad quarter, I threw in a really nice wheat cent that I had flipped just as like a little bonus, because obviously I'm guessing they collect coins if they want a clad quarter. So I threw in like a really nice wheat cent in there and just like a quick little thank you. I appreciate it. You're my first official sale, blah, blah, blah. And I did that. So I plan on trying to do that in the future, but obviously you have to, there has to be an adjustment. I can't give the farm away. But, if I put something up and it sells quick, or I get what I'm asking for it, if I can throw them, something like a gram of silver or something, just, throw them something. No harm, no foul. I shouldn't have put up one with a pow-pow stick, but that's what's on them. It's not my fault. There, this one's got a rabbit on it, YouTube. That's nicer. It's a little rabbit, 1 gram, So maybe I'll, try to do things like that, throw one or two of those in, which does cut into any profits that I get, but trying to get that train rolling. I'm not going to become some giant eBay seller, but to offload some of the stuff that I have, it's not a horrible idea. Oh, and I found this out. Now, I will actually take you over in a second. Let me pull it up so I have it, and then I'll bring you guys along. I mean, I guess I realized, I just didn't realize this. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to go back and bring you guys with me. Display screen, transition, boom. Okay, so here we are on JM Bullion. And I have this bookmarked, and this is the buyback, right? So this is where you sell to them, and I've searched here, and I've limited my search, but you can look and see what they're buying stuff at. So, just for instance, say you are thinking about getting into flipping, or you're going to put something up on trade day, and you want to know, this will give you a decent idea, and it gets very specific. Like on some of the slab silver eagles and different things, like you can literally look up the grade and like PCGS, NGC, it gets pretty specific. I'm actually quite amazed of what they've done with their buyback portion of their website. But on the screen here, and the interesting thing, I never really knew. I always figured I would, if I wanted to, cash in my copper coins. I was going to have to wait for something to happen. Nobody's really going to just buy copper Lincoln cents. No, not true. Because here on JM Bullion's website, 95% copper Lincoln Memorial pennies, $50 face. Now that's 2 complete boxes of all copper. So, what is that? $50 face. I don't even know how many pennies it is. I'm not going to try to do the math right now. But it's a ton of pennies, right? That's heavy. The buyback price is $110 right now for $50 face of copper pennies. Now, getting coins from your bank in large amounts is not going to be the easiest thing. But if you could get them, ordering and moving stuff through, theoretically, and as long as JM is willing to buy them, you could make some money. And from the initial information that I've gotten, now this might be an exception, I'm not sure, because you're talking about a lot of weight. To my knowledge, if you do this, if you create an account, or if you already have one, you go on here and you say you're going to sell, the last information I had was they would send you a shipping label, and then you box it up and ship it, and then once they get it and confirm it is what you say it is, then you get paid, or however, electronic deposit or whatever that is, however that gets set up, or a check mailed to your house, I don't know. But yeah, you get paid. So you might not even have to pay for shipping, which would mean for people like me, I mean, just the stuff I have sitting here, I probably got 2 boxes worth of copper just sitting there. And yes, there's probably some double dyes or some crazy stuff. I don't look for any of that, when I'm throwing the copper, especially if it doesn't look super nice. I pull out all the nice examples. But so you can slightly more than double your money on even copper pennies. I had no idea that you could sell them as easily. And I haven't checked other bullion dealers, just JM. Because I was looking around, they seem to have the best online database. A lot of the other ones, when you look at their websites, on their buyback programs and stuff, it basically says to call and talk to somebody. I will switch you guys back, so we're pretty much done with that. Oh, wait, hold on. Come on. Clicking the wrong buttons. But the point is there. Even on something like that, and honestly, let me get back. Because that's the Lincoln. I wonder what they're paying for wheats. Let me see. Wheat. Okay, so wheat pennies. Okay, they're saying common dates, so you would have to try to make sure you don't throw them anything nice, right? But common date wheat pennies triple your money. So let me go back just so you guys, I can show the 5 of you that might. Oh, I was right. There's really only 5 of you left. That's fine though. I'm not complaining at all. So let me go back. I want to show you guys this for the few, the proud, the 5. On the wheat cents, 50 wheat cents, they'll buy back for $1.50. If you just, and I do pennies mostly for the fun of it. Like, I mean, unless I find some crazy error, right? I mean, there's no huge cash cow there, or you find like a really nice wheat or something. I mean, what's the odds you're gonna find like a 1909 SVDB? You know what I mean? That's in any kind of shape. Not likely. Not impossible, but not likely. So, I do the pennies mostly just for the time consumption, the fun, you're not looking to make a lot of money, but you can. And I don't know what a roll of wheat cents goes for on eBay. We could find that out. Let me see here. Da, da, da. But, so even somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, if they just start going through boxes of pennies as they have time, you're not putting that much into it. You pull it out, you take what you got back to either that bank or another bank, wait sometime, get another box of pennies. You could literally not build a fortune, but you could stack up some money. Might be a way to build into silver. You hunt some coins, hunt some odd rolls, whatever, when you get a chance. But you can almost always get a box of pennies from any bank. They have multiple on hand because it's the most common denomination, and they use more of them when making change than most other coins. So, yeah, let's see. Now, we're going to see some gouging, I'm sure, but I'm going to try to go to sold listings and see what it looks like. Search. Okay, I don't know what that is, what they're trying to show there, but somebody sold something. One's got a seated Liberty double end. I feel like some of those are fake. Partial roll. It's hard to tell. Okay, here. Wheat cents, 85, 40s and 50s in a bag, old roll collection. I'm not 100% sure what you're getting here, but it's sold for $3.25 plus shipping. Here's 10 rolls. They claim to be old. I don't know, how that looks, but 10 rolls sold for just under $200, like $187.50. So yeah, roll of wheat pennies, 2 rolls, 1958p. I don't know if that's something that they're looking for. They claim BU. Uncirculated, $31. Here's one sold for $2 plus $4 shipping. So yeah, you might be able to do a little better on eBay, but how long are you going to wait to sell that on eBay versus someone like JM, where you can just triple your money on the wheat cents and roll out? So I don't know, man. I mean, that might be an option for me if I hit like another big lot of wheat pennies like I did on that one box with like the 140 something. That was almost 3 rolls right there, just in that one box. I have a ton of wheat pennies and a ton of copper. So if I ever do want to offload it, there's an easy way to do it. So, silver's up, gold's up a little bit, isn't it? Nothing crazy, but I feel like silver got the best of it. Actually, gold's down a little bit on the day. Well, it claims a little bit on the day, but it's up for the week. Just under 1,800, 1797.25 on my charts, and still showing strong. Still very strong on my indicators. The RSI for the week is only at 56. I would expect to see it climb to at least like the 65 range before it's going to trickle back down. But we'll see how Monday goes. These next couple weeks, I expect it to kind of taper off on the rise. I think we've already got a pretty good rise in both metals. On the news that we have, which is mostly just rumor and speculation, even if it is from the horse's mouth, quite literally. But yeah, I feel like, we're about to shake some of the people out of the market if prices continue to stay up in this area, because if you haven't been in the silver game long, you look at something like a $35 an ounce silver, with premiums or whatever's going on, or maybe it's something specific, and maybe you're not as sure about that price point, but we're also going to get a lot of, if they do actually pivot, there's going to be so many people try to jump into the market. That's where we're going to just, if the general public really realizes that the value of their dollars are going down and gets smart and puts money into silver, which all the investors will, we already know that, but if it gets doubled down by, a lot of the general public coming in like they have been. I went into my LCS when I got back from my trip. I stopped in because he had that pendant, constitutional stacker. I'm new to stacking, yes, and you have a purple hand or a pink hand. Yeah, everybody found these new emojis. I haven't even looked. Anyhow, I stopped in there because he had that pendant I was telling you guys about. He was trying to offload, and I figured out what it was. I snapped a couple of photos of it while I was there, a time or two ago, and I finally got around to really doing research and trying to figure it out. It didn't take me long. So it is a 1551 Hungarian Madonna and Child, I believe is what it's referred to as. That's the silver coin in the pendant. And apparently a lot of these pendants were made, because I found others. Now, I've seen one that sold on eBay for $95, just the pendant and the coin. Seems kind of low. I also see another one listed on eBay with some type of chain, I believe. But it's listed for $600. Not sold, but listed. You can imagine how that's going to go. But, so I stopped in there to tell him what I had found out, that I figured out what his pendant was, because he had no idea what the coin was in it. So I gave him the information that this is what it is. This is the coin. I also warned him that some of the jewelers, to brighten up the coin and to make the whole thing look better, often plated the coin, to make it shiny silver. It's still silver on silver, but as we all know, that's not going to help the value of the coin on its own or in any other setting. You basically have kind of ruined the coin at that point, but it's still what it is. So I stopped in to tell him that, and as soon as he saw me and I walked through the door, he's like, I'm out, I got nothing, and which was a lie, but he was out, and here's the lie. Let me show you. So I had a tool from my garage that I kind of figured I was going to let go. Nothing crazy, but, he does that kind of stuff. I'll trade with him, or if I have something I'm just sitting on, I'm not doing anything with, maybe I'll offload it, because it's not doing me any good. So he did have this. We've all seen it. It's the 1983 Olympic commemorative, I guess. Really nice eagle on the back of this thing. One of my favorites. I know it's not the most detailed. It's kind of half cartoonish almost. But I just really like it. It's a very clean coin. This is not the only one I have. But this one has the box and everything with it. So, I had that thing in my car that I knew I was going to try to offload, and he said he was out. And I look over, and I still see this ugly thing sitting there. I said, you're not out. You still got that, And he goes, oh, yeah. And so I went out to my car, and I grabbed that tool, and I brought it in, and we back and forth. He gives me deals, I give him. It's just like with anything, you build that relationship, and so I'm giving him a tool that he's probably going to be able to sell for 50, $60 easy, and I'm just sitting on it. I'm not doing nothing with it, anytime in the near future. So I was just like, hey, I showed it to him. He took a look at it. I'm like, hey, you could trade me this straight up for that silver over there and officially be out of stock, or what are we going to do here? And he took a look at it and he said, yep, yeah, we can go ahead and do that. So I got the last of his silver. It's 90%, but it's a really nice coin. Some toning starting on it, not much, nothing crazy, but that kind of haze that you get, that bluish haze starting on like the top of the coin. But I got it, and he's officially out, and he said maybe he's gonna have something by Sunday, but he said as soon as he sets something out, it's gone. He's got guys that are coming in every day to see what he has. He had a 10-ounce Nadir bar a little while ago. I think it was like, sometime last weekend, towards the end of last weekend, because he's open every day now through Christmas. And I stopped in on him, and I'm not going to say his price seemed high to me, but I wasn't looking at spot either. And I know we're up there, but, price seemed a little high to me. I was like, let me think about it. He goes, there ain't no thinking. The next time you come in here, that's going to be gone. He goes, you can come back here in 2 hours, it might be gone. And he was right, but it's over here, we don't have an abundance of shops. They're here, and there's a bigger one, a little distance away, and they usually have something. It may not be what you want, but it's something. But at least as far as like here in our slightly smaller area that's closer to home, he can't keep stuff. And so he told me to stop in Sunday and see if he has, anything he's been able to get. But yeah, it's kind of rough. And he says he literally has some of his best customers stopping in every day. And gold, he said gold, forget about it. He can't get any. Nobody's bringing anything in. So I think the mind state is really starting to change, and people are realizing, there's a switch about to happen. We printed way too much money. We've been a little too loose. We were trying to save the economy by doing what they do best, which is just printing money and inflating everybody into oblivion. And we'll see how far we went. Because if we went too far that way, the swing back when the dollar starts going down is going to be, not equivalent, but you get the idea. The harder that was, the harder this is going to be. So if we overdid it, which I believe that we did, by a far amount, then silver, gold, commodities, oil, all these other things are going to go up substantially as the dollar drops. And especially with other countries and like the BRICS nations and some of these others that are talking very strongly about trying to go back to a commodity-based economy, a gold or a silver-backed financial system. I mean, which is what we want to hear. But if it's not the dollar doing that move, that's just direct competition for the dollar as a world reserve currency. And if we're not the ones, which I doubt we're going to be, to do that, then all bets are off. And who knows what's going to happen to the dollar. But the way I feel like this is going to go, I feel like either the BRICS or whoever, somebody's going to go back to the commodity-based system where it's backed by hard assets. And then I feel like we are going to push forward with our digital currency that's still not backed by anything. And that is going to be the interesting fight. And that this could still be like a decade off. I don't think so. Probably closer to 5 years, if that. But that's going to be the fight to see when the dollar's struggling to adapt and survive, and somebody else, maybe the BRICS nations, maybe, Russia or whoever, take this step back, and you could still digitize a commodities backed system. So it's not a complete, discrepancy, but if they have that going for them, going back to commodities based, and then also trying to do something with the digitization, the dollar is it's already doomed. We know it's not going to be the world reserve currency forever, but if those things start to come to fruition, it's going to get kind of rough here because we're used to our dollars being worth more than or equivalent to pretty much everything else to a degree. Go travel abroad. You know what I mean? A lot of people that come to America, think about it. When we go traveling, you get the benefit of the exchange rate in most cases. It's usually relatively equal, maybe a little offset, but in some cases, like Mexico and some of these other countries, it's strongly in your favor. But think about anyone that comes to America to travel currently and probably has for like the last who knows how many decades. The exchange rate works against them. Think about trying to save up for a vacation, and you have to save up, 50% more money because your money's not going to go as far on your vacation. The plane ticket might not cost you, a whole lot more or whatever, but once you get there to eat, to get around, to do the things that you're going to do while you're there, costs you more money than it would for somebody else because of the exchange rate. That's where we're going to be at in like 10 years once the dollar loses its status as the world reserve currency. I feel like you'll see Americans will still travel, but I feel like you'll see it a lot less because it's not going to be as easy financially. And also, if that's happened, then we're probably going to be suffering some kind of economic hardship to a degree. How much so, who knows? But it's going to be real. We're literally like living out history. And I know you can say that about relatively any point in time and about almost anything to some degree. There's always something happening. But this, I don't think people realize just how big of a precipice we really sit at. We're basically teetering on the fall of Greece. Something that we all read about in school and studied and heard about, and they expanded too far, they grew too big, and they didn't have the resources to control the outerlying regions, and they started doing their own things, and then it just, socially and economically and politically and militaristically fell apart. Like everything just like crumbled almost all at once. And so I feel like that's kind of where we're at. I don't think it's going to be as long as 5 years, maybe only one, and it's going to be China as the world's currency. They have been stockpiling, and Bitcoin. I know everybody hates on the crypto, or, well, don't hate on it, but, it's not everybody's favorite topic in this side of the realm. But China was doing a lot of mining. A lot. When it was still super profitable. A lot. Like, to the point to where Bitcoin miners were complaining because, who was it? Like, Elon came out a few years ago and said something about, oh, the problem with Bitcoin is, it's, the mining's not, ecologically, good. You're burning up all this electricity, da da da. And he was like, oh, if you could do it sustainably, yada yada yada. Which was funny because a few months later he flipped and, basically Tesla invested in a whole bunch of Bitcoin, like on their books. But during all that, people were complaining because they were talking about maybe trying to actually push like a standard of mining. But China's not going to follow that. China hasn't followed any of the EPA or climate accord agreements, or even if they have, it's been a farce. The entire time. I think we all know that, and so they're not playing by the rules. So they're over there with these mining farms and maybe even gold mines, like Johnny T brings up, and just acquiring gold from everywhere that they can. They know what's going to happen, and it may be China, it may not be. I don't know who will take over as the world reserve currency, but once people start flipping, if they do, which it sounds like they're going to, back to the commodity space, to backed by something substantial like gold, silver, heck, Saudi Arabia could do it and base their economy on their oil. I mean, I don't think that's as good because that gets used. It's a finite resource, but I think that would even be better than, the fiat system that we're on. But I don't know who will take the world reserve title. But once those dominoes start falling and we see these things happening, yeah, you're going to have something built up because it's going to be a rocky road, and there is no playbook for that because our government's not going to let it, go easily and quietly into the night. They're going to try to do everything they can to stay relevant, to use their relationships with other countries to their advantage and all these other things. But I don't know. I kind of feel like everyone's been getting tired of us for quite some time, just in general. Both sides of the spectrum. It doesn't really matter who's in office almost. I feel like we're either pushing one agenda one way and making half the people mad, or pushing the agenda the other way and making the other half of the people mad. Can't win. But it's going to be real interesting. So, silver is... it's about the only thing that gives me any peace of mind at the current point in time. I mean, not completely, but you get what I'm saying. Like, knowing that I have... and the cool thing is that a lot of it's, like, beautiful coinage and some collections. I mean, you guys have seen some of the stuff that I have. And, the actual fun of searching through... coins and things and finding silver, which is still amazing that you can literally still pull silver out of bankrolls. It gives you a peace of mind just knowing you have some stuff. So it's fun, it's educational, there's all these aspects to it. But when push comes to shove, we still have something. Like, I never met a hobby that could build you up financially. as much as this. And I think that's the interesting part. Like, we all talk about it, and everybody's looking for error coins, and everybody, wants a deal, and, we go through all these things, price changes, and, the market's up, the market's down, this coin's hot, oh, it's a couple years later, it's not as hot, it's not worth as much, those things happen, but in general, no coin collector's ever going to lose their shirt or silver stacker, or for sure gold stacker, gonna lose their shirt. Their hobby is literally, you know, a financial security blanket. So worst comes to worst, something really bad happens, and we've seen it on some of the different trade days and auctions and things. Um, people come on there. Who was it? I think it was Henry. Um, Came on, and actually I emailed him and I never heard back. So hopefully he offloaded the stuff he was trying to offload. But he said like a transmission went out in his car or truck or something, and he was trying to offload a couple of things to help not make that hurt so much in the interim. And I completely understand. Like, I'll tell you guys tomorrow, if I, God forbid, something happen and I suffer some kind of, setback, you guys best believe there's going to be a fire sale. I'll try to keep the prices as reasonable as I can, but I I try to. I'm easing back now, trying to like let reserves build up, and I don't want to stack too much fiat, but kind of build some things back up there. But if I have to, I'll sell, or if something happens, yeah, I'll sell some stuff to cover that cost to really, zero sum gain it, as much as possible. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. And I don't see that as a failure of stacking. A lot of stackers out there will tell you that if you sell because you need to, because some life thing happens, you either overextended yourself or you shouldn't have been investing in the first place, or they'll have all these arguments. And like, my argument to that is it's not a failure. Number one, you're probably not selling everything you have stacked and collected, and even in the extreme case that you were, you're going to ride out whatever that is. Hopefully that gets you out, or at least, through whatever that emergency is. Let's hope. And you're still a stacker. You're still a collector. You're still going to want to build some of that back up. Now, if you do or not, therein lies, I guess your determination to rebuild that stack. But I don't see that as a failure. That's what this is for. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's a nice hobby. Yes, it's it's all those things. But it's also literally here. That's what everybody talks about. Be your own bank, right? Well, if something happens, I'm cashing out. Yeah, like, I have a decent amount in metals. I have a stock portfolio that's in the trash. I have a crypto portfolio that's in the trash. I don't have a lot of dollars on hand, and probably am not going to for the foreseeable future, because roller coaster. We're getting ready to go over that hill, and I don't know how soon it's coming. Johnny thinks maybe a little quicker than I do, and I don't care which one of us is right, but I don't want to put a whole bunch of money, save a whole bunch of fiat for it to tank. I mean, you don't want to do that with any investment. So yeah, I'm cash poor. If something truly substantial happened, yeah, I would have to sell some of my stuff. Does that mean I overextended myself, or I bought stuff I shouldn't have? I don't think so. constitutionalist chiming in, and he says, buying silver and gold is the only thing that brings me financial peace and a feeling of freedom, if you will. With the BRICS growing, that is even more true. But with the CBDC rolling out already in the test phase here, and yeah, I heard that, and I don't know what that means. I'm going to have to look into that more, but I saw that. Supposedly it's already live in some beta test markets or something. I still feel very uneasy. I don't want to ever have to turn money into a tax trap, trace fake digital currency. I don't hold many dollars either. Even with CBDC, use PM holders should come out the best. Us. I feel like he means us. Yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing too. I feel like if anybody's ever watched, and if you haven't, you need to go watch it. The Big Short. Pay the $3 to rent it on wherever if you need to. I'm pretty sure it's still something that you got to pay for on most platforms, but it's the movie, the slight dramatization, very slight dramatization of the 2008 housing crisis. Okay, and one of the predominant people was Dr. Michael Burry. I think that's right, Michael Burry, who kind of saw this thing coming. And so I feel like him. And there was another guy, I think his name was like Steve Ballmer. Again, I don't know everybody's name. I've watched it. And Brad Pitt's in it and a couple people, and there's a sentiment in there and these people in question are making tons of money. And then, like, at one point, I forget what point in the movie and who says it, but somebody basically looks at, like, somebody else and they go, you know, if you're right about this, like, people are going to lose their jobs. Like, this is, like, it's borderline financial Armageddon on a scale that up until that point we really hadn't seen in our lifetimes. You know, nothing truly, I guess, that bad. Well, most of us, some of you old people. But, you know, like the 70s and some of that. But even then, I think it's arguable that 2008 was probably the biggest thing that we've seen yet to date. It affected more people. It had ripples, and I feel like we weren't even 100% out of it when COVID hit. I still don't feel that. But there's that sentiment of, like, you're right, but you're right about, like, a very bad thing. You know, and I think that's what Constitutional is kind of honing in on there. Like, yes, we're going to do good, but, like, we don't want to. But this is the only thing that helps us sleep at night. Is that little bit, like, just knowing. And that's why, and I'll tell you, and Yankee Stacking, a much bigger channel, and I wasn't even 100% sure on this until recently when he did that video about the 10-ounce bar that he purchased, the first one he ever purchased. And I have some bars, I won't lie to you. But I have way more Constitutional. I have way more dimes and quarters, and I buy up fractional whenever I can for deals. Now, it's right now, it doesn't seem like a good financial idea to buy this versus a couple ounces of silver, but I tell you what, when I'm shopping for groceries or I'm needing to do small transactions, I'm going to be good. I have small fractional silver. That's where I see the bigger value. Somebody with, what's a 10-ounce bar going to look like if it ever comes to that? If it ever really comes to that, what's it going to come to when you're trying to hacksaw that SOB apart to give somebody something? You know what I mean? To trade something. And then are they going to argue that you didn't cut off enough, or that piece looks small, or, whatever have you? I'm not going to enter that realm for quite some time because of all of my constitutional. Roadhog, good to see you. Now, it's already 1:45. I'm not going to be on here very long. But Roadhog, you can either go back and replay, or I was going over the fact that I found out. Now, $25 to some people is a lot of money. I'm always humble, and I try to state things in realistic terms. So, not saying $25 extra is easy to come by, but I found out that JM Bullion, just for one example, buys back the copper pennies at a little more than 2 times face. The Lincoln Memorial copper cents. Then we found out that they buy back the wheat cents, non-key date wheat cents, for 50 wheat cents. I think they were paying $1.50. So on the wheat cents, you're tripling your money. So I know you're into scrapping and things. Now, the copper cents would take a while to build up because you got to do 2 boxes worth. They said $50 face. So that's a lot. But the wheat cents may be a little easier. So if you ever do get into or have the extra money to start trying to cycle through some coins at your bank, there is a decent place to offload them that you won't have to really wait that long, and will double or even triple your money in the case of the wheat cents. So, and then all the clad you just throw back and use that towards getting more rolls and boxes. In the last, I have a bag that my bag that I'm actively filling. It's probably pretty close. And I think I've only been filling that bag for maybe 2-3 months, and I haven't been trying super hard on the pennies. I've honestly been focused more on the other coins and the silver, trying to find that. But it's something to think about. So it's JM Bullion, and there may even be other online retailers that do it. And I've heard that you don't even have to pay for shipping now. Don't quote me on the 95% copper Lincoln Memorial cents, because 2 boxes is quite heavy. I don't know if they're going to deduct some of that cost out of there or not. So that would be something to check into. But I just found that out today when I was looking around and shopping at buyback prices, and I stumbled upon the Lincoln cents in the list and didn't realize that they would buy those back for basically what sounds like the copper value more so than the coin value, which to me is interesting that a big dealer is even willing to do that. There you go. Yeah. And one of these days I'll figure out how to run a bot and actually run. It's time for another drink of sake, I think. But I'll figure out how to run the bot, and I'll try to get something going like Flip has with like the find me thing and all that, because yes, I feel like all of us, as we can, should try to support each other. You can't support everybody. That happened to me a lot with my other channel. In the tool community, it's the same. It's the same as anything. You can never support everybody. There's all kinds of little sub-pools of groups and things, but there's so many creators and people in it. You can't support everybody. You find somebody you like, somebody you resonate with, somebody who hopefully doesn't annoy the shit out of you, and you know, hang out with them and collaborate or whatever. Um, that's kind of the way of it. And so I think it was like my Instagram with my other channel, which can't remember if I created a new one or I think I created a new one, so I think I still have the other one. But I realized at one point, like, because, you know, I don't care about followers, but, like, you know, you look at your stuff to see how you're doing. And I was following, like, as many people as were following me. And, like, I don't know. I think I was in, like, the 1,500 or close to 2,000 range or something like that. And I was followed by some big tool companies and some things like that. But, you know, how are you really doing if, like, everyone you follow follows you, but that's pretty much it? You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of spinning your wheels, right? It's like, what do they call that? Like, I forget, when, like, you're in an echo chamber, right? And to some point, most of us are, to some degree, and that's why I try to put out. All right, Johnny, I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you very much. What was I saying? Echo chamber. And that's why I try to do and present some, not completely like crazy or clickbait videos, but contrary thought. Like with the American Eagle video, which did very well. Considering, you know, other channel metrics and other video metrics that I have. By far my best video. And probably because I was saying what a lot of people out there are feeling. Now, a lot of people look at Eagles and they're not the best value right now. They're not. They're not. The premiums are high. They cost more. We all know that. But for all these people to be bashing them and the premiums and this and that, you know, I think was, you know, the wrong way to go about it. And to expect this U.S. government minted coin to sell for anywhere near comparable to another coin or even measurable amount of silver is just, what are you saying about the U.S. Mint and the government-backed stuff? Oh, it's worth more, but not that much more. Well, that's your opinion when you're trying to buy. If you were trying to sell, you'd have a slightly different opinion. You would take all the premium that you would get on the sell, but when you're buying, you don't want to see it. You can't have it both ways. If the Eagle deserves a premium, it deserves it. Now, was it higher than spot, or was there demand? And maybe the smarter people in the room, the market makers and the people doing things and really moving behind the scenes on large scales, were seeing. Maybe they knew. Maybe they were getting whispers. Oh, yeah, I think the Fed's going to slow down. And they knew that we were about to start moving up on that knowledge. And so, were they overpriced? Silver's up a couple of bucks now. I don't know where the premiums are at. I think I've seen Eagles advertised for $33, $35 still. So the premiums, I don't think, have moved up substantially. And silver started catching up. So were they overpriced, or did you just not like the price? I think it's something more like that. And so that contrary thought, and I have a video much like Constitutional's video, about setting goals. I don't know what happened with my editor. We're having like file transfer troubles. Um, and so I don't know like exactly what it is, but last I checked, um, so the last video he tried to re-upload to me didn't work. So what I'm probably going to do is step in, because this video I filmed before Thanksgiving. It's quite old. So I'm going to do it. And it's similar to Constitutional's, well, one or two of his videos that he's recently done. Yeah, not a carbon copy, but similar kind of topic. But yeah, there were some issues there with whatever the upload, so we're trying to work on that. But, you know, it's interesting, the echo chamber and the people and the mind states. I mean, it takes all kinds. In almost any subgroup anymore, there's all kinds. There's the hardliners, there's the hobbyists, there's people that want to get into it and talk like they know everything but are still learning, which I'm still learning. I don't know half of probably what I should, and I keep feeling like I need to like niche down a little and just focus on stacking. Like I thought I had that kind of down, and I knew what I was doing, and then I threw coins into the mix, and now I got coins everywhere and rolls, and this one's slabbed, and like I always overcomplicate and kind of spread myself not thin, but you get what I'm saying. I have my hands in multiple places, especially with something like this. You see value, and you learn more, and I've probably tossed, who knows? Maybe I had like a 1992 close AM in my hand at one point and just didn't know and tossed it like the rest of, the sheeple out here that just don't realize what some coins and things are worth. I mean, I may have even spent silver coins. If I wasn't paying attention before I was really tracking and cared to know, I'm probably sure that I did. And a lot of the general public do. I mean, people turn the stuff into banks constantly. I found a silver dime today in all those rolls. I had a bunch. And I got those from the corner of Indiana up by Chicago. So that kind of area. I think it's like 25 minutes from where I was to Chicago proper. And so I was going through these rolls, and dimes is kind of a bad search. I think most of us can agree to that. There's not much to them. Yeah, you might find some errors and stuff, but I don't even think there's near as many errors as some of the other coinage. But there are some, and you can look. But at least for me, mostly if I'm looking through dimes, I'm looking for silver. Even the stuff I need for like the Rosie book, I'm likely not going to find in a bankroll. I would have to find like a silver proof or something from 2018. Right about there is where, I need to be to fill book holes. But I was just searching through all these rolls, and I don't know how many it was. I got them around here somewhere. It's a bunch. It's not a whole box of dimes, but probably at least half to 3/4 of a box, and just randomly, just one dime, a couple of bucks, found in there. Like I said, gave it to my son. He's technically the one that was standing here looking when we found it, and he got all excited, which it's worth it for that. It's his birthday. We found a silver coin. I gave it to him. Got to film like a little YouTube short he was a part of. He liked that. So, so many wins there. But you could be looking for months and not find anything, and then just stumble upon it. I found 3 silver quarters in like the last couple of weeks, and I've been looking. I was pulling W's and BU's and whatever else I could find out, and I wasn't even really looking for W's. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew they were there. I didn't realize how much they were worth when I first really started, because I didn't mess with quarters, because in my previous experience, you weren't finding a bunch of quarters or a bunch of silver and quarters. Half dollars were your better bet. If you do find, you're going to find more, or you'll find 40%, or they're bigger coins. Luckily, if you get, on that side of the 64 or earlier, you're finding a 90%er. Like, that's pretty darn good. But quarters, you find a silver quarter, yeah. Dimes, it's even worse. You get lucky enough to find a dime, it's only a couple of bucks. So I wasn't really honed in on the numismatic side, and so I never looked for any of that stuff until like more recently. And I'm like, okay, wait, there is some stuff in here that's worth. Like, okay, well, what's worth? And that's when I got to really honing in on the W's. I'm like, well, wait a frickin' minute. The W's are worth more than the silver quarters are by double in almost any case, given condition and the other things. But like, well, shoot, like, I've been kind of looking for the wrong things, and you're more likely to find a W than you are probably a silver quarter. So it just kind of opened my eyes. Like, value is, it's a matter of perspective. I mean, almost completely. And if you don't know what's valuable, you don't know. I mean, that's how counterfeits, really are a thing. Because someone sees something of value and tries to fake it. Coins, same way. Silver, same way. But, the people that really know, can spot a fake. Can I at this point? No, but I know enough I would be able to hopefully figure it out. Or at least be wary enough not to act on a purchase or something. But like the general public, how many people, I've heard of people, famous people, rich people, different people, buying fake Rolexes, fake diamonds. Like, people are still scamming people with money. Actually, probably scamming harder on the people with money and buying large things like that. You would be surprised. So I'm happy to stay in my little corner and be where I'm at, but it's definitely interesting for sure. All right, enjoy the third job of the week. Speaking of which, though, I know Constitutional's running out. Most other people are running out. Roadhog just got here. We're going to do something. I am going to give away, this time, I feel like we'll do 3, because I don't have anything else here directly. Let me see if I can find. I'm going to look through my commemorative nickels. I don't think I can put together a whole set, but I will try very quickly. There's one. I'll try to see if I can get some nice ones. Okay, so that's one. And I'm still not sure about that bowl that I, if you watched my grab bag video, the one, and it's right here. They're claiming, and I gotta look this up, because they're claiming, no, that's not even the one. They're claiming that the 2006 P is the final nickel of the westward journey, and I don't know that to be true. I'm not saying they're wrong. Maybe I'm just ill-informed, but I don't know that to be true, and I am confused. There's the other one. Okay. So, what we have here are 4 decent examples. And on the Louisiana Purchase, you got a really nice one, because I think that's the only one I had found. Yeah, I think that's the only one I had found. So the Louisiana Purchase one's really nice. The Lewis and Clark is decent. The Buffalo and the Ocean View, it's not bad. None of them are necessarily showpieces, but this is what we're going to do. I'm gonna find a piece of paper. Why do I never have paper? Where's my post-it notes? What's going on here? I leave for a few days and my desk, it's like a bomb went off. There's my post-it notes. Okay. There's only a few of you in here. Okay, so we'll do number, since numbers are easy. And there's 6 people. I'm assuming one of those is me on the other thing, so we'll do, and try not to, as always, try not to spam too hard on the easy guesses. So like guess one, give it a minute, maybe let another person or two, and then go. But, so we're going to give away the 4 nickels and 3 grams of silver. And I'm going to write a number between 1 and 10. So we don't want it to take too long. Okay. I have my number written down. So, go ahead and begin guessing. Numbers 1 through 10. First person to guess my number will win this, and I will send it out whenever I get to sending out the next batch of giveaways, which I have a couple piled up. I will put the quarters, and I'm going to have to look into that. If that's actually one of that set. Oh my gosh, Roadhog got it on the first try. Number 4. Okay, so that was easy. Thank you to everyone for participating. I appreciate it. And Roadhog appreciates it with his great guess. So, let me get one of my little baggies. That's a big baggie. Do I have any small ones left? No. I'm going to have to actually buy baggies. I will throw these in here. And we will put your name on them. I know I have your address, but I'll look back. I can find it. But there we go. Nice little bag. 3 more grams. You got a couple, I think, last time. You're starting to add up. I know they're just grams, but still silver. Something that I would... Where did I put that note? There it is. Use the same sticky note. Boom. And I'll write your name on it, and it'll go out to you. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. It's my pleasure. Okay. Alright, I got it set. Well, it's just after 2 in the morning here. I put that back in the pile with the other giveaways that I have to mail out whenever I get around to that. I know Big Flip's streaming tomorrow evening. I forget what time he said they were starting. But maybe I'll, if the kids aren't crazy, and depending on what time it is, maybe I'll jump back on tomorrow night. And maybe, I don't know, I'll go through some pities or something. We'll see if we can find a slightly better, more entertaining thing than me bitching about the market and geopolitical economic policies. But a very good day for everybody. Silver's up. Everything's up, at least right now. We'll try to ride this wave as much as we can. Be weary. Like I said, finishing out the year. Could be as low as 19 or 20. Could be as high as 25, 26. Now, I feel like we'll be either or on that spectrum. I'm not one of these people. I'm not saying, oh, it could be anywhere between there, because that's basically where the market's at right now. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking by the close of the year, after that news from the Fed, we will either, if the news is true and they do what they say, then we'll be 25, 26 by the end of December. If they don't, and it's 75 basis points, I feel like we'll be back at 19 or 20. So watch out for that. Remember, December 14th, I believe. So look out for the news, and that can kind of help educate your moves that you're going to make in the weeks following whatever that decision is. So, yep, I will see you later, Roadhog, and everybody else. I thank everyone sincerely for their time and attention. Channel's growing well, growing fast, and I appreciate anyone that hangs out through these live streams. Every little bit helps, and the watch time will eventually get us to where we are financially monetized, and then I can do even better giveaways and things. So, we'll look forward to that. Until then, I will see you guys later. Be safe out there, and enjoy whatever is left of your night. Thanks.